Maybe should I pump iron for the official start? Like this? Hey everybody, it's Gavin Syme, pumping 2 kilos here. Okay, I'm done pumping for now. Tired out. Welcome to the Gavin Syme Show. Are you being musked? That's what we're going to talk about today on the show, because I've been seeing the news blowing up and all of this stuff happening, and I'm going to keep this pretty focused and to the point today and try to keep us from going too long, because I want to get us down to the brass tacks. Biden, Trump, Musk. These are the names that are on people's lips right now. And as I've been watching the tyranny unfold for years, especially the past few years with all this medical tyranny and things that are going on, the abuses of human rights all over the world, the unification the politicians have managed to get on the narratives the past couple of years has been amazing. And then the subsequent media control and networks and our social networks and things that has always occurred to some degree because they're these private networks. But the level of absolute, remember early on a couple years ago, people were making videos that countered the official narratives, and they were actually talking about, we were told trust the science, which means don't use critical thinking. Just trust what the politicians say. And they made these phrases, these keywords, and they got the whole world to repeat them. And if we didn't use code speak in our videos and our posts, we would be shut down. And we've seen this on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter. For the past couple of years now. And it's ramped up at alarming rates. And so here we are in 2022, and Elon Musk, who is the king of rich internet trolls, is quite entertaining to watch, of course, because when you've got this kind of resources that this man has, it's like, well, I can do what I want. At least to a point. The elites in the end like to make sure you play their way, and we'll see how all this plays out. But I actually want to talk about this because I'm seeing all this stuff. Why is it we always have to pick a party hero, a faction hero? Right? And I get that if somebody's doing impressive things, you support them. I'm fine with that. Right? And you talk about them. But most of the time, it's not someone people know, right? For one group, it's Trump, and then it's Musk, and then it's some soldier, or it's Biden, or it's some left-wing comment, right? Depending on which side of the aisle people fall on. And you know what? It's always rinse, wash, and repeat. And I've been saying this for years. They just keep dividing us on faction. I didn't even know Elon Musk was... Is this guy considered a patriot, conservative? Suddenly he's the hero because he's doing what your group wants, right? He's sticking it to Twitter, and they've been sticking it to us for years. Okay, I get that. Like Twitter's censorship. And this is the problem. Let's go back to the root of the problem. Well, the root of the problem is our corrupt hearts and not loving our neighbor like Jesus and not standing up for things. That's what got us here. But the technology problem, when technology companies, and I have to deal with Facebook ads and Google ads and social media, and I've been dealing with this for years. I was on Facebook in 2007 before most people were there. And I saw it change, guys. It used to be, and if you were there early on Facebook, on Twitter, obviously they were different companies. They worked a little differently. But if you were there in 2007, 8, 9, 10, I want to say up till 2010, 11, you went to Facebook, and it was a social network of you and your friends and things that you were interested in. So what that meant is if you friended someone, you saw their posts in your feed. If you liked a page, those posts would appear in your feed. You may not remember this if you've had a page, but back in the early days of Facebook, like when I had a photography page, I would make a post on my page on a business page, right, that had maybe 10,000 fans at the time, I would make a post on that page of, let's say, a photo that I took. And in 20 minutes, I would have hundreds of likes. Why? Because not algorithm. People liked my page, and therefore Facebook showed them that. Then they started building the algorithms. And they say the algorithm is to show you the things you're the most interested in. No, the algorithm is to show you what they want you to see. So the algorithm, and I watched this transformation happen, the algorithm started out as before Facebook, right? The algorithm started out with Google and things like that. So when you search something, the algorithm was supposed to keep you from getting spammed, right? The algorithm would be updated to control what was seen based on the quality of it. This was how the early algorithms worked, based on quality. This was on the Google side of things, so that people couldn't just game the system and send you to spam garbage sites, okay? On Facebook, there was an algorithm, but it wasn't that intense. You liked a page and you saw the post from that page. Remember that? Remember how cool that was? Like, oh, I like Fuji cameras. Fuji cameras makes a post. Oh, there it is in my feed. That's how it worked. I'm friends with John. John makes a post. Oh, there it is in my feed. That's how it worked. That all changed with the more advanced algorithms. And what those meant was they controlled what you saw, when you saw it, and they are advanced, and they allow the social networks, who are huge money and playing games with the government and the politicians, to show you what originally it was more about how to make more money, how to advertise to you better. Okay, well, it's better to see ads that are relevant to me, right? But we've seen how the algorithm has worked. And as I did a video, I talked about this recently, the algorithm's the new 1984. The algorithm is what controls. And we saw that happen in full swing in 2021, when the algorithm entered in its entirety. The algorithm could detect if you posted something contrary to the narrative. If it was done too much and getting too much attention, the algorithm would flag you and you would be banned. Or if it was just a little bit of dissonance, the algorithm will simply push you down. And with that algorithm that's been promoted as such a good thing across really 3 or 4 major networks, if you think about basically 3 to 4 corporations controlled this entire past 2 years of media information. It wasn't actually the politicians. Sure, they were behind it. They're in bed with the social media and the networks because they all make more money that way, right? But if even one social network had said no, it could have changed everything, because they had to have them all on board, the major 3 to 4 networks that are global all over the world. Never in the past could this have worked, because all the individual news networks would have had to be on the same page. But no, not anymore. Sure, there's lots of news networks, but even those news networks rely on the social networks to get their content out. So if they're not playing the game, they're not even considered relevant news anymore. So really, Facebook, Twitter, and Google controlled the narrative. All the politicians now have to do is control or be in bed with those 3. Think about that. Okay. So enter Musk, right? That's our topic for today. We're being musked. We're being musked, and it's like this little spray-on, musky scent, and everybody's like, oh, Elon will save us all. Elon's turning on satellites for Ukraine. And I'm like, okay, that's good. Good on him, right? I mean, I don't know Elon Musk, right? I do know that everybody's like, Elon just cares about people's rights and people's speech. Have you guys looked at the company Tesla? The company that won't even let you repair your own car? The company that can turn off your car and disable it at any time because you violated their rules? Have you looked at the Tesla company's respect for right to repair? And maybe if you had, you wouldn't be so quick to smell the musk. All right, how does the musk smell? Well, the musk smells pretty good when Twitter has been screwing us over with their agenda. The problem is The left socialists have a right to their opinion, and the right conservatives have a right to their opinion, and none of them have a right to violate anybody else's rights, and that's all what both sides want to do. That's why you have to throw away faction and love your neighbor instead and defend justice. But these networks, when they create algorithms, and this is the problem that we're having, is the networks are created as a technology concept with the goal to make money, but then they become essentially activists. The corporations themselves become activists really for politicians. They really become lobbyists, no different than a lobbyist that's shilling for politicians. But it's like a reverse lobbyist. Instead of shilling for a company to the politicians, the companies are shilling to the people for the politicians. So Facebook, Twitter, Google, they're simply lobbyists for politician interests. Because if they play the game with those politician interests, well, that's good. So enter Elon, and I don't know what his reasons are, but I can totally see this. If I had billions of dollars, I'm like, oh, I can shake things up. Twitter's pissed me off. I'm just going to own it, right? That's cool. I get that that's like, wow. But what's throwing me off is how quickly people are just lured in to the narrative of faction. Right? Oh, Trump's, he's a defender of our freedom. Elon, he's a defender of our freedom. Biden did this. Biden, I got news, guys. Biden's not the reason inflation's through the roof. Now, you could argue that Trump isn't either, but all the massive socialism influx, the programs, the stimuluses that we were all like, oh, cool, free money. And yeah, I mean, everybody likes to deposit from the money that the IRS has been stealing from them over the years. It's nice to get an extra refund, and you're like, oh, they've just stole that money from me anyhow. At the end of the day, though, they're still redistributing wealth. And that's obviously, if you enter trillions of dollars into an economy of fake fiat currency, you're going to dilute it. If you have whiskey that is 100 proof, okay, think of your money like whiskey. If you have whiskey that's 100 proof, you're like, hey, it's a good whiskey. I'm going to sell, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sell a bottle of this whiskey for my friend, okay? I'm going to sell a bottle of this really good whiskey to my friend, and I'm going to double my money. I'm going to have one for me and one for him. You take a bottle, you pour half in one and half in the other, and then you fill them with water. And you say, hey, here's a bottle of whiskey. He's like, cool. You just made money, right? Well, what did you actually do? You just created fiat whiskey because your whiskey is no longer the same. So you can't, even with fiat money, which has no backing in the first place, if you take your fiat money and then say, you know what, I'm going to add a zero to the fiat money. So we have more money, right? And this is how truly dumb the world is. And I know most of you listening understand this. But this is how uneducated our world is. It's like, oh, great, we have more money now. No, you just diluted the whiskey. And it sucks now. I'm going to take the whole barrel. I bought a barrel of whiskey. That's cool. I'm going to put 2 barrels, mix it half and half, and dilute it. I have enough whiskey now for the rest of my life. Well, I don't know how much whiskey you drink. I'm a sipper. All right. So there you are. That's what you did to the money. But just remember, it was Trump in office doing that. Now, I'm not a Biden fan. I'm not a Trump fan. But Trump was one of the most fascist presidents we've seen in our lifetimes. Completely anti-constitutional, anti-Second Amendment, anti-human rights, anti-immigrants, anti-constitution, you name it, it's all there. And I've done lots of videos, so I'm not going to go into this because I've laid this out and I've framed it in tons of videos. So now I get why when people are seeing Elon Musk and like, oh, now he's bought Twitter, now it's really going to get good. Okay, it's interesting to watch. I'm not saying it's not. And I'm not saying Twitter didn't suck and that it's not funny to watch the psychotic Twitter overlord squirm, right? It would be great to see that on Facebook and YouTube as well. But to say that any of these guys are going to fix it. I told you guys before Trump was in office, guys, this is a shame. This guy's not going to defend your freedoms. And he didn't. This guy's not going to set our political prisoners free. And he didn't. He's still persecuting them. He was still persecuting Julian Assange. Still persecuting, did nothing for people like the Bundys, like Leonard Peltier, like Schaefer Cox. He's a patriot, Gavin. What are you talking about? And enter Biden. Again, like, now he's left, right? He's doing nothing for these political prisoners of ours that the left aligns with, right? Or a guy like Assange that kind of both sides align with because he's being persecuted for exposing the government corruption. What's Biden doing? Well, the same thing Trump was doing, trying to get him brought to the U.S. so they can throw him in a cage for exposing their corruption. Same old, same old, same old. Right-left paradigm is a joke. But it's not a joke because it's used to control your lives. And so really we're seeing the same thing with Musk. The left is like, I can't believe Elon Musk is going to destroy blah, 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 blah. And the right's like, Elon Musk is going to save our free speech. No, nobody's going to save you. The only one that can save you eternally is Jesus. And the only one that's actually going to defend your freedoms is if you get together with your people and your community and stand up. And that's what's so hard to do. And so you look at these articles, what I think's interesting, and don't get me wrong, I think it's cool to watch. EU warns Elon Musk that being too lax on Twitter moderation could get the platform banned. What? So we welcome everyone, says the EU. We are open, but on our conditions? There are rules. There are rules. These psychopaths, these psychopathic politicians are coming in here and saying there are rules to your free speech. No, they're not. Screw you. There's not rules. That's not free speech. Oh, there's rules, but using words that incite people are equivalent to using sticks and stones. No, they're not. They're words. The entire purpose of the existence of acknowledging the human right to speak your mind is acknowledging the right to incite others against others, particularly the rulers and politicians. That's the entire flipping point of the right to speak, of the right to press. And so when I look at these scumbags like in the EU, right? This makes me want to get behind Musk, but I'm not a faction jumper. I'm fine if Musk buys Twitter, but I'm not going to be Musked, right? Because I know that it's not going to come out the way people think. Is he going to censor the other side? Well, he says not. He says he wants the First Amendment version of free speech. That's great. I'm glad he's talking about the Constitution. Maybe it'll get people to actually read it for once. While you're at it, maybe you should go in there and realize that all immigration restrictions are completely illegal and that you have the right to walk across the border whenever you bleeping well please. And if you sit at a river and stop at the bridge to keep people from crossing, and then you go to the river and try and keep them from swimming across so they freaking drown, you're complicit in murder. You're a fascist. You're a loser and you don't believe in freedom. And I'm sick of people pretending. You want your free speech, you want your Second Amendment, but those brown people, those people in that faction, those people on the left, they should be in prison. They should be across the river. We have to make this for us. Guess what? Either freedom is for everyone or it's for no one, period. It's not for citizens. It's not for residents. It's not for Americans. And if you think it is, you don't believe in freedom. You believe in asshole. Sorry, did I go on a rant? I just wanted to get that out. I'm just tired of us falling for factions instead of caring about people. So what I'm getting to here is Trump, Biden, Musk, all of these guys. I mean, Musk isn't a politician president, so I'm not going to put him in the same clown category as Trump and Biden, right? They're equal clowns on different sides. You have the senile clown and you have the narcissist clown. And both of them are trampling everyone that gets in their way. The fascism ends if you don't support the faction, but you keep supporting the faction. And I'm not even going to argue like, if you're a citizen or if you're not. It's not even an argument. If human rights exist, they apply to everyone equally. The paper that the government gave you has absolutely zero effect on them. And if you think it does, if you think your birth certificate with a number on it from the government is what gives you your rights, then you need to get off the internet and read a book and learn what human rights actually mean. Maybe go read John Locke or the Bible or even the Constitution. Because it's time to get a clue and stop being ignorant, flippant sheep for the left or for the right. And I see all these people posting memes, oh, the left are such sheep. And I'm like, you're the exact same sheep. You're just doing it for a different corporation. Or actually just a different side of the same corporation. So is Musk going to save you? No. And he's probably not even going to do what you want. And if he does try, look, they're already coming after this guy saying, well, if you even let people speak freely, you're going to be banned in Europe. I would love to see him call their bluff on that. I would. To say, you know what, screw you. Try and ban Twitter. Ban Twitter in Europe. See how your people respond. If they go for it, well, screw them. Because here, if you actually had a platform where people could truly say whatever the fleep they want, decentralize it, make it so there's nothing to take down, right? That would get me excited. Even if people said bad things, right? If the right to speech is say what you want. And screw the government. Oh, well, you don't, if it incites blah, blah, I don't care what the rat's ass it incites. Now, if you cause harm to someone, you can be accountable for that. But that's a different thing. There has to be provable harm. Damaging the narrative of the government and their whores is not provable harm. You're just getting in their way. And they've been slaughtering us and jailing us for getting in their way for thousands of years. And we're supposed to be liberated that we can communicate. Do you realize how hard it was? There's been times where the course of history has been changed by not being able to get a message through, and we can send a message to each other across the world in a second, a fraction of a second. And yet we still can't get real information. We still can't communicate. And so as I look at this and I see all these articles, all these Elon Musk articles on Twitter and of course the news media is right on, like, oh, how dare he do this? Like, it's dangerous, blah, blah. No, speech isn't dangerous. People who want to restrict it are dangerous. People who want to say, you don't get to talk about that. It's against the science. Those are the people that are dangerous. Because the most anti-science thing is to say, don't question. That's the opposite of science. Real science is about questioning, about facts, and about study, and about reality. It's not fiction. It's science. Science fiction is a story based on what could be with science. That's what the politicians have. They're selling science fiction. Science is different. And the entire world seems to have forgotten that science fiction is a movie or a book or a story. But when you take away the fiction, there needs to be facts involved. And that's what makes it science. So all I'm saying, I think this is interesting to watch. I think it's great that people that have the resources to do so are shaking up. I'm skeptical they're doing it for the right reasons. Look into the Tesla car company. Even though their cars are getting kind of cool and there's potential there, I wouldn't want to own one because I can't even work on it because they control everything. Everything's proprietary. You can't even fix your vehicle. They can turn it off whenever they feel like it. So it's freedom of speech is good, but not freedom of mobility, not freedom to repair my car. Something's off with that to me. And that really makes me pause. Like, wait a minute, what's this really about? What's this really about? But Twitter's being shaken up, and that's cool. I think that seeing more of that is good. But as my friend Kelly Stewart made a post recently, she's like, none of the billionaires. I'm tired of everybody talking about all the billionaires. The billionaires aren't going to save us. And she's spot on. Trump isn't going to save you. Biden's not going to save you. Musk isn't going to save you. Zuck he's going to zuck you. But you get what I'm saying. This is what I wanted to get across. I don't want to be too long because you know how I get long. You know how I get long-winded. So I'm going to close the official part of the show for today. I'm just saying, think it. Use critical thinking on economics, on science, on human rights, on right and wrong. Get to some fundamentals of your values and stop falling for faction and division and whatever the latest thing that you're seeing on your Facebook screen is telling you to believe, because the algorithm from the side of your party is putting it in your face. Anytime all the media is talking about one thing, you can rest assured that you're being played in one form or another. All right, you guys, I'm Gavin Syme. Stay safe, eat some tacos, and love your neighbor. Peace. Dramatic pause for poster frame. Pump iron for fitness. 2 kilos, baby. All right. I just got good lighting here. I thought, like, tell me when I got it for the poster frame. This is how YouTubers actually do this. You realize this, right? They do an outtake video where they like do things and they make expressions like, I can't believe this happened. I just broke my monitor with my 2 kilo pump iron weight. Have you been musked?